Episode 5. Who would have thought we ever get this far? Episode 5 of the Play On podcast, brought to you proudly by our first sponsor, Valium. Because that's what I've been on for about a week or longer, and my neck's cooked, and I'm just floating around, living the dream here, guys. It's currently Sunday midday, and I've had a couple of beers, a couple of Valiums, and I'm about to record this podcast. So this one's going to be bloody interesting because it's not the sharpest I've ever been. Nonetheless, I'm going to get the job done for you guys. I'm going to get stuck into it. We've got heaps of stuff. We've got week in sport, some whinge of the week. We've got some cricket, Superbowl, multi-bet, NRL team of the week. Stuff that I wanted to talk about, really. There's probably heaps more, but go somewhere else for that. And let's cue the intro.
Charlie, it's me again. You, from the future. Sorry to the listener for the lack of creativity in the intro to this podcast. You know, we're at war with Elon Musk's robot army. Also, congratulations to the Rabbitohs for their 50th premiership in a row. Good luck, man. Congrats on episode 5.
All right, this week in sport is going to be brought to you rapidly because I don't have much written down because this week I've been diazepammed out of my mind and I haven't done a lot of research. So this is what I got for you. Ash Barty's looking good going into the Australian Open. Looks like she's in good form. Number 1 in the world. Let's get a win, Ash. Come on. Payne Haas from the Brisbane Broncos had a crack at police the other week, and the recording or whatever of what he said has come out, and turns out he didn't do himself any favours by saying all that stuff to the coppers. Maybe have a few waters soon, mate. But just rugby league players and alcohol just don't seem to mix very well. A bloke finally did a good kick in the Hyundai A-League, and the fan in the crowd went mad. And they have a new team, the Macarthur Bulls. Who? What are you doing, A-League? Anyway, Paul Green signs as the Queensland coach, so that's good as a New South Wales fan. Joe Root's pretty good at cricket, isn't he? Yep, he's just stacking them runs up, leading into the Ashes. Nervous stuff. Latrell Mitchell's price pushing. He's said he's talking to other clubs and getting offers and all this kind of stuff. No, you're not, mate. You're staying at the Bunnies for life, and you're winning 3 premierships in a row. And we got the NFL Superbowl tomorrow. So Tampa Bay Bucks are going to flog Kansas City Chiefs and get me $170 out of $10. Bieber, Tom Brady. I don't really know too much about NFL, but is that going to stop me from pretending and reporting on it? No. So more to come on that. All right, let's move on. Wiki whinge of the week. 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 Ruben Wiki. How come all my whinge of the weeks involve toilets? There's a common thread here, right? And I'm sorry, but this one is keeping on trend and involving a toilet again. What's your guys' view on the disabled toilets? Like, if you need to use one, because this happened to me the other day. I'm going to put you. My missus works late on a Thursday night. At least that's what she bloody tells me anyway. She works late on a Thursday night. So this one night, I made myself a really hot curry because she doesn't eat hot food. Next day, Friday, had a couple of beers with the curry kind of thing. You know what I mean? Next day, Friday, about 9 a.m, driving from site to site. Movement at the station. By the grace of God, I was given a 2 or 3 minute window of opportunity to find somewhere to dispose of my feces rapidly. And you could tell. You know when you can tell? Like it feels hot and rumbly? This was happening to me, right? So I see the Golden Arches, everyone's favourite Scottish restaurant, McDonald's. I pull up, race straight past the counter, go into the toilet. It's not a very big McDonald's. So the male toilet has 1 urinal and 1 shitter. The shitter's full, man. Randy Quaid, shitter's full. Okay? There's a guy in there, obviously going through similar dramas to what I was doing. Because you don't want to really go to use the McDonald's toilet, do you? That's not your first one you want to use. what do? I'm running out of time. So I'd get outside, I'd go to like the toilet foyer, where the leads to the three options. And my options are the female toilet, disabled toilet, or my pants at this stage. So I go for the disabled toilet, do the business in there. There's a smell that's going to outlast religion. It's horrible in there, right? I wash my hands, I come out, and as I come out, there's a dude waiting there in his wheelchair, and I come out all able-bodied and shit off the disabled toilet, and I feel like horrible about it. And he was cool as. He fully was gave me he didn't talk, but he gave me the all good kind of I need to go to the toilet vibe, and I was like, yeah, sweet kind of thing. But then I felt so bad about the smell that I left in there. And what's your take on it? What do you do there? I don't know. I had to go. I didn't really have an option. I'm not going to go into the female toilet. As if you tuned in last week, I've had dramas there. So that happened to me, right? It's an awkward situation. The guy was cool. Everything's cool, right? But okay, here it is. My whinge of the week. McDonald's, put 2 shitters in the male toilet. Okay? Please. Just 2. There's always at least 10 people in your bloody restaurant. At least, right? So unless you want this kind of stuff to keep happening, or people to start dropping bosses in sinks, put 2 toilets in the bloody male toilet and the female one. The female one's probably got 6 toilets and a bath, shower. They've probably got people in there with palms, just cooling you down. But no, the bloke's toilet is 1 meter by 1 meter, and you've got to you got to share it with the bloke who's taking a piss. It's not McDonald's. You know what? 2 toilets, please. Bloody hell. It was pretty awkward. And also Ford Ranger drivers, man. Just because you splashed 90 grand on a car that breaks down all the time doesn't give you the right to just tailgate everybody and drive around like a bloody idiot. Slow down. You're going to kill someone. Okay? Yeah. Whinge of the week. Feeling better already.
Yes, American Superbowl time. Yeah, Eagles and patriotism and freedom. Yeah, Tom Brady.
This is the part of the podcast where I pretend to know what I'm talking about when it comes to American football, NFL, gridiron, whatever you want to call it. Wouldn't have a clue. The basics. I know how it works. I played Madden. Growing up. I like the game Madden. But I don't really follow NFL week in, week out. I'm not going to sit here and pretend to know what the hell I'm talking about. But I'll tell you what I do know. Tom Brady, the best to ever do it, is playing tomorrow for Tampa Bay. Last year, Tampa Bay didn't even make the playoffs. He comes over. This year, they're in the Super Bowl. Okay? This guy's superstar. Best to ever do it. Have I got $10 bet riding on it in a multi that's going to turn into $170 worth of hopefully buying a second microphone for the podcast money? Yeah, I do. Does that make me the biggest Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan this side of Mountain Creek, Sunshine Coast, Australia? Yeah. Tampa. Imagine what shit fucking fan stuff they have over there. Anyway, Valium's kicking in on this one. I just want a couple of stats. Tom Brady's 10th Super Bowl. He's won 6 of them. Since his first start for the Patriots in 2001, Brady has appeared in half of the Super Bowls since then. That's crazy, man. The bloke's 43. He looks like he's 23. And the bloke he's coming up against is 23 or 24. And he's the next Tom Brady. So it's just, the setup is just here. Kansas City Chiefs, who the Buccaneers are playing against, they won it last year. Patrick Mahomes, who's the quarterback for them, is the new next gun. The stage is set for an absolute blockbuster. I hope Kansas City just choke hard. My prediction is Mahomes chokes. It all gets too much for him. And Tom Brady just throws the ball in heaps and does good things. Because I know what I'm talking about. And if you want accurate stats about this stuff and like proper legit NFL chat, move on because I don't know. But I want the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win. So come on, Tampa Bay. Come on, Tampa Bay. We need a new microphone for the podcast, baby. Okay? And it's all riding on you. Speaking of betting and multis, let's get into it.
Team of the week. It's the team of the week. It's the NRL team of the week.
Gold Coast Titans this week, guys. The forever ordinary Gold Coast Titans. And aren't just Gold Coast franchises ordinary in general? Dull. Just nothing exciting about them. It just seems that way every year. But last year they were Queensland's top performing club, I believe. They got 9th. I think they can improve next year. They've recruited well. They've got a good up-and-coming coach. I think all the pieces are starting to fall into place for them to actually have a crack at something. And I say that with all honesty. I think that they can make the top 8 and give it a nudge and take a few top teams out this year. I don't think they're going to win it. But if they can build into a top 8 team a couple of years in a row and recruit well over the next couple of years, yeah, they can win it for sure. They got Mal Meninga down there, and he's got a massive influence on young blokes. He's a huge influence on the game. So I reckon the Gold Coast Titans, sneaky top 8 chance this year. They've recruited pretty well. They lost Jai Arrow to the pride of rugby league and the best team that's ever in the history of rugby league. But they also recruited David Fafita from the Broncos, who's a gun, and Tino Fasua Malawi. That's right, I practiced it. He's from the Melbourne Storm, and he had a great breakout season. These two used to play with each other too, and they were juniors, I think. So scary stuff coming out of the forward pack at the Titans. And something that blokes like Jamal Fogarty, AJ Brimson, and Ash Taylor can really thrive off. These blokes should be, the spine for the Titans should be firing this year. They both had better years last year, especially Jamal. So I honestly reckon that they can have a crack. I'm predicting 7th or 8th, around that, like the back end of the top 8. I reckon they can really do it, and I reckon the Gold Coast fans need it, all 5 of them. There's no fans, man. That's what they struggle. That's where they struggle. You can have the best team in the world, but if no one goes for you, no one cares. You know what I mean? But exciting times for the club, nonetheless. So, good luck to the Tits. All power to you. Good luck beating the mighty red and green, though. Ain't happening.
Got him, yes! Got him, he's gone! Oh, yeah!
So, this is the segment of the podcast where I'm going to talk about 2020 cricket, because last night was the Big Bash League's 10th final. And the Sydney Sixers and Perth Scorchers went at it at the SCG in what was all set up to be an absolute blockbuster, teeming with talent and skill. And it was a bit of a letdown, I thought. Sydney were the kind of formed team all year, and it looked like they were going to win from the start. They kind of have only lost 1 out of the last 11 at the SCG, and their team is absolutely stacked. And that's kind of how I thought it was going to play out, and that's how it did play out. The Sixers batted first, and Her Majesty's Sir James Vince was the man of the innings. He got 95 off 60, and he hit a 6 over cover that made me feel a little bit funny in my pants. It was a great shot. He had a great innings, actually. He's pretty bloody good, that fella. Mitch Marsh also dropped him on 60. Which is classic Mitch Marsh thing to do. Carlos Braithwaite was as big as he was overrated. Something about the Windies guys, I don't know, it just doesn't do it for me. And it was a dominant batting performance from Sydney, 6 for 188 they got in the end. Perth started well, but the innings just never clicked for them. They just kind of seemed like it wasn't going to happen for them. They showed moments of like class, and they definitely an awesome cricket team for sure, but it was an admirable effort that they just didn't quite get there. Cameron Sandpaper Bancroft, he got a few, he got 30 odd. Livingstone was good, but they just weren't in it in the end, and they ended up getting, there was 9 for 161. And I don't know, it just wasn't that much of a spectacle. I don't know. Me personally, I just don't really get around 2020 cricket. It's too Americanized or something, and it's the bright colours. I just don't get Just doesn't do it for me. It's definitely the worst form of cricket. Bring back one-dayers, man. Or make it less... I don't know. Maybe I'm just a bit of a purist. Probably am. How old do I sound, hey? Some of the fielding also was pretty village, I thought. Dan Christian was one of the things I took out of it. He seems to be in every winning team ever. And he's about 50 odd, so he's going really well. So shout out to you, Dan Christian. I'd love to have you on, mate, if you're listening, which I'm sure you are. I can't believe Cam Bancroft's still out there playing cricket after suffering all that anorexia. That bloke needs a feed, man. Far out. He's so skinny. Like, something's going on there. So if you are actually struggling with anorexia or something, mate, I'm really sorry. He'll always be renowned as the sandpaper guy, though, right? Like, if I watch the game and I'm watching him bat, I'm just like, sandpaper. In my head, it's like, you cheat. That's all I think about. So it's tough for him to be able to have to deal with that all the time. Maybe that's why he's not eating. I'm not sure. Mitch Marsh seems to choke in the big occasions. Is it just me? I don't know. But he did bat very well. He dropped a couple. It just seems to happen. I really like Mitch Marsh. He's obviously a great cricketer. Apparently he's great around the boys and stuff, but it just seems to not rock up in those big games. I miss Test cricket. It's only been 2 weeks. I miss Test cricket so much. And speaking of Test cricket, our alpha dog overlord cricketing nation, India, is hosting our beta cousins, England, in a 4-test series at the moment. They've just started. It was day 2. And England batted first, and they're doing really, really well on another lifeless, flat Indian wicket. So no wonder they're getting runs. But in all seriousness, I got to say, fair play to Joe Root. He is in some form at the moment. He's just got 218 in Chennai away. He's got heaps of... His average in India is crazy, over 60. That's like his 4th or 5th score over 150 in a row. He's in crazy form, and it's quite scary coming into the Australian summer next year. But hopefully he'll be out of form by then, because that's how cricket works. And it's different when the ball's up around your neck and you're trying to pull it away off the front dog. So I can't wait for the summer. Really looking forward to it. But England are doing really well over there. The game's probably going to be a draw. Coming into day 3, they're still batting. They're probably going to bat for another couple of hours and try and draw this one out. I reckon the wicket will probably start turning, but we'll see what happens. But I think it's going to be a draw. Stokesy looked pretty good. England looked good. Pitch looked lifeless. I'm a little bit scared coming into the summer because the Aussies don't have a series against South Africa anymore. That's been cancelled. We don't have anyone to play against. Someone on the Instagram, play_on_podcast, reached out and said, why don't Australia split into 2 teams and play each other in like a little test series and everyone get around it? I thought that was a pretty good idea. Or we could play New Zealand. I don't know. Something has to happen. We need to play some cricket. Otherwise, we're going to get beaten by the beta cousins, England. And I just would not be able to handle that. And the Pommy mates I have are feeling pretty confident, and I'm not. So I'm holding on for dear life here. Bring on footy season. I miss Test cricket. And go India.
Multi-bet of the week.
That's right. It's multi-bet of the week. All right? I've still got multi-bets from weeks ago that are coming because I thought the Superbowl was last week because I'm an NFL expert, as you've just heard in my last wrap-up. So we want Tampa Bay to win tomorrow, okay? Tampa Bay Buccaneers all the way, baby. That's one. Then last week's multi, it's all happening tonight, aka Sunday when I'm recording this podcast. And I'm going to leave that as this week's multi of the week because it's Wales to beat Ireland in the Six Nations Rugby. And I've got Wolverhampton Wolves in the English Premier League to draw against Leicester. And then I've got Liverpool in the English Premier League to beat Man City in an upset. Upset of the ages. I'm getting a bit confused with the multis, so I'm just going to leave it there this week, and then next week we start afresh. Hopefully the Buccaneers get up, and Big Palmer can buy a microphone. Okay, thank you very much. Wrap up. We're going to wrap it up now. This is the part where we wrap up, and I'll probably do a little spiel about stuff. Probably tell you about next week too. Wrap up. We're going to wrap up. Yeah. That's right, you guessed it. Wrapping it up. not before we do some shout outs. I reached out today and said, who wants a shout out on the podcast? And guess what? Everyone who reached out is going to get it. Even a couple of people who didn't reach out are going to get it. Bozza. Big bad Bozza of Alex Hill, King of the Hill. Yip, 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 yip. The bloke loves a yip, loves a you. Shout out to you, my friend. Also, he's a chippy, so feel sorry for you, mate. Official cousin of the podcast, Renee. One of the worst 10-pin bowls I've ever seen in my life. We went 10-pin bowling last week for my niece's 8th birthday, and because my neck's bad and I'm on valleys, I was using the kiddies ramp and I still beat her. So come on, work on that. Surely in the Rang they have a bowling thing. I'm not sure. He might get stabbed, but anyway. Big Willie Carlin working on a Sunday, mate. It's a holy day. What are you doing? I know you're trying to feed the family, and that's food on table stuff, and I appreciate that. But, mate, it's a Sunday. It better be double bubble. Mate, Webby, one of the best palmers I've ever met in my life, and he's a big, red, sexy son of a bitch. Mate, shout out to you. Up the Dolphins. He mentioned the Dolphins had a hat on, and up the Dolphins forever. Redcliffe, baby. NRL bids soon. Vico, right, one of the OG listeners of the cast. He works for Epic Office Furniture, probably some of the best office furniture you can get in the Southern Hemisphere. Like, I know that's a big call. There's some good office furniture out there, but these guys really have some good stuff. That's not an official podcast, not an official sponsor of the podcast yet. But are they on their way? Possibly. Can they get there? Yeah, I imagine so. Let's talk. Talk to me. All right. Thanks heaps for listening, guys. I'll see you next week. Episode 5 done and dusted. See you on episode 6. Thank you very much. Like, subscribe, all that kind of shit. Yes!